I'm upset, okay? My expenses went up 30% this week. My daughter's daycare went up $40 a month, and her gymnastics didn't necessarily go up in amount, but it went down in time, okay? And I did the math because I am a nerd, I am a CPA, this is what I do, and it went up 46 cents per minute, which equals 22% increase, okay? You know, the kid is the common denominator here. Do you know what money is?
No.
Things are getting expensive for a lot of us, and also for a lot of us, we look to our parents only to find that they're also in the same exact boat. How are we gonna care for ourselves and our parents when things are getting much more expensive, and mathematically, it's not gonna get better unless something dramatic happens with our currency? Whole different video for a whole different day. Most families end up staying poor for generations because the assets are only owned by a certain amount of people, right? And as those people purchase more assets and they hand it off to their family pretty much tax-free, that wealth stays into the family and it expands, right? So as the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and the middle class, which is probably me and you, have to be forced to choose a side. Bad news is it's not really going to change for the world as a whole, but the good news is that we can make things change because we have knowledge that people don't know about or people don't really act on. This whole situation where, you know, the older generation is kind of leaning on the younger generation is not their fault, all right? We have been programmed, me and you, all right, have been programmed to believe that this is supposed to be normal. Let me know, talk to me in the comments if this has happened to you. You're at your job, they offer you a 401k and they say, you know, get the traditional 401k because you'll be making less money as you get older and you'll have a lower tax rate. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna be getting even more money the older that I get, okay? I'm not trying to be broker when I get older. So people tell you that, and that kind of does a programming thing, right? We can get into the whole psychology of words and things like that, but that programs our minds. We're like, okay, we'll be making less money as we get older. So you think it's normal, but it really is not. Some generations took it a little bit too far, right? And now we have reverse generational wealth where it's, you're not leaving me money, I'm actually taking care of you and giving you money. So let's get into some actionable steps you can do to kind of reduce the wealth gap, to make things easier in retirement and make things easier when people in our lives do transition. Number one thing is mostly for you, stop making payments, all right? No, I'm not telling you to not pay, you know, your phone bill or your car bill, but payments are literally the worst thing to happen to America and people in general. Imagine if we had to pay in full cash for all of our cars or pay in full cash for all of our houses and literally everything we buy. Those things could not get as expensive as they've gotten, right? A house could never be $400,000 if everybody had to pay in cash for them. It simply could not. Having loans, making payments gives you the false sense of things being affordable when it really isn't, right? Because if you have to make a payment on it, you cannot afford it. That's just the truth. But because they break it up into small bite-sized pieces, it looks better, right? Housing can get out of control because we make those housing payments over 30 years. And they're even introducing a 40-year loan, not because they like you and they want to help you out, but because that can actually make the asset grow even bigger in value, really bigger in price. It's all an illusion, and we don't want to bother with that. Okay, I want nothing to do with it. But to the extent that you can, reduce the amount of years that this actually just draws out to, right? Because it just keeps on giving you that thought that it's more affordable, but it really is not. If you can pay a house off in 15 years, then try to do that. For your parents that are just kind of like, look, whatever, I don't have no 401k, I don't have no retirement, I don't have no business, all I got is vibes. Get them life insurance. Hell, maybe y'all could go half and half on it, right? Like maybe they pay because they want to set you up for success, and maybe you pay too because you don't want to be stuck with, you know, funeral costs and whatever drama comes with people transitioning. I am going to have an entire dedicated video to life insurance. Life insurance is extremely complex. There are many different types, so be sure to subscribe because that's coming up very soon. But if you have life insurance, you're literally paying pennies on the dollar for whatever insurance policy you go with, right? So let's say you get a $1 million policy. It's not going to cost you $1 million, but when your parents pass away, boom, you got $1 million, okay? And because of current tax laws, these things are inherited tax-free. Who doesn't want a tax-free $1 million? I don't see nobody. Also, like I mentioned, my expenses have gone up 30%. That's only two things. If I really sat here and calculated everything that has gone up, I might get emotional. A lot of advice you might get when it comes to financial independence is cut your expenses. Make sure you're not buying that Starbucks coffee. But I've tried that, okay? I've tried both things. I've tried reducing my expenses and I've tried growing my income. The expenses method can only go so far. I mean, unless you're completely homeless and begging for everything you have, you cannot cut your expenses down to zero. I have seen, I mean, literally the best way to financial freedom by increasing my income by leaving companies who do not pay you your worth. I seen something on Twitter that went a little something like this. Boom. This person is bragging about undervaluing their future employee. Okay? These companies do not give a damn about you. This person, hopefully there's not more people like her out here in the world, right? But people are like this. They're not going to value you. If you're okay with accepting the bare minimum, they're going to give you the bare minimum, all right? That's also relationship advice. Don't say I never told you nothing. You must move around. Believe it or not, if I stayed with, I've changed jobs a handful of times, okay? Maybe 4 times already. And I've been working like at my big girl job since 2016. If I stayed at my big girl job that I was super proud of and super excited about, I would have been leaving $50,000 on the table, okay? Because what they pay, what I would have been now, a manager, is $50,000 less than what I'm making right now. You have to leave those jobs. They do not care about you. You always, every year, all right? Every year, look at your position. See what they're paying right now, the market rate for what you do. And if you're not getting paid that, you need to negotiate. And if you're too afraid to negotiate, just leave. That's what I did, because I didn't really learn negotiation skills. So I was like, I'm not good at negotiating, but I am excellent at interviewing. So it's the best way, all right? I have videos on my channel talking about how I've dramatically increased my income by $40,000 and $30,000, all kind of like in one swoop, all right? So check that out if you have some time. But I would really like for you to think about retirement differently. When you get into these corporate jobs, they always tell you, you need to diversify. And then they put you in stocks and bonds. Stocks and bonds are the same thing, all right? Don't get it twisted. They are two sides of a same coin, right? Like they're both intangible assets. They're both make-believe, whatever, all right? True diversification includes a mixture of things, not just numbers on a screen. You want to make sure you have a real diversified retirement plan that not only pays you, you know, in your golden years, but also pays you right now. And I have just a video talking about all the options of retirement right here. So go ahead and click that.